بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, from this session we start the third article, مقالة ثالثة, the third kind of section of the book, which is about Muqārināt namaz, not muqaddamat. Muqaddamat are the prerequisites, but this is about the things that are accompanying Salat. And the first thing to discuss is Adhān and Iqāmah. Some of the etiquette and manners of Adhān and Iqāmah. Here there are 5 chapters. The first chapter is about what is the secret in Adhān and Iqāmah in brief, not in lots of details. Adhān and Iqāmah, before we go to the book, need to be explained as 2 Arabic terms. Adhan in Arabic means i'lan, to declare, to announce. Adhan can be verb, can be noun, to announce or announcement. Adhanun min Allahi wa rasulih illa al-mushrikeen. For example, that was a kind of announcement that was made to warn mushrikeen, the pagans, the polytheists. So in Arabic, Adhan means to declare. For example, Allah said to Ibrahim alayhi salam, Adhan fin nas bil hajj. Announce, declare that people should go for hajj. And if you do so, then they will come to you. Iqāmah means to establish, to make something a stand. Because qāma yaqumu qiyam means to rise, to stand. Iqāmah means to make something a stand. So it is muta'addi, it's transitive. So it means make something a stand. Like we say Iqāmatus Salāt, means to establish Salat. Salat needs to be a standing, not to fall down or to drop. So these are literal meanings of Adhan and Iqāmah. Now we are talking about 2 special technical terms. Adhan as call for prayer. Adhan is a kind of public, even if you are alone, but you say Adhan, because Salat, in my humble understanding, is legislated to be said in congregation. So it's initially and principally something that we should do it in Jama'ah. But we have been given permission to do it furada as well. But it seems that the planning is to be done in Jama'ah. Okay? And this is why we have Adhan, we have many terms in plural form. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Allah knew that this is going to be part of Salat. Why He says, Iyāka na'bud. Or As-salamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salihin. So much emphasis on Salatul Jama'ah. So, Adhān is a kind of public announcement. And that is to call for prayer. So maybe people need few minutes time to get ready, to come, etc. Iqāmah is immediately followed by Salat. There is no gap. So you only say Iqāmah on the prayer mat before you actually start Salat. Yes, you can make few du'as, zikr between Iqāmah and Salat, but you should not go anywhere, you should not talk to people, and connect Iqāmah with Salat. But now there is a mystical element here, and that is to not only announce others and call for prayer, to call your own faculties, whether they are mulki or malakuti, to Salat, to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he says, Salik ilallah dar adhan bayad qalb که سلطان قوای ملکوتی و ملکیه است و دیگر جنود منتشره در جهات متشتته ملک و ملکوت را اعلان حضور در محضر دهد. Imagine if we are meeting the king, or king said that at this time in this place I'm going to see you. Then you make announcement that everyone is ready, prepared, everything is clean, everything is organized. Full attention is there. In Salat, we are in the presence, in Mahzar. Mahzar means place of presence, or presence. It can be masdar mimi or ism makan. So in the place of presence, or in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only others, other human beings, other people should be ready for Salat, but I should bring all aspects of my reality into this presence. Whether they are about mulk or malakut, whether they are my senses, my mind, or my attention, or, above all, my heart, because heart is sultan, as authority and sovereignty, is the commander. So heart and everything that is listening to the heart should be present. If you are one of those who are lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, lovers, if they see the beloved, they lose their control. They will be overwhelmed. So Adhan means that then you prepare yourself so that you can control yourself. You don't want to, go unconscious when you see the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you are not one of the lovers, and you are one of the mahjubeen, one of the people who suffer from hijab, there is veil between you and Allah, you have not yet seen His beauty. His beautiful face, wajhullah, is covered from you. So here, Adhan is to prepare yourself to show more appreciation and more eagerness for this hudur, this presence. Iqāmah then means more than calling your mulki and malakuti quwa, faculties and power. It means به پاداشتن قوای ملکوتیه و ملکیه در محضر و حاضر نمودن آنهاست در حضور. Sometimes you call people, come, king is coming, get ready, have your best dress, clean, polite, and be present. This is Adhān. Sometimes they are there already, they have been called. Now you are organizing them. You stand here, you be here, don't, for example, gaze at the king, don't speak with each other, etc. So you are preparing them for hudur. And then he says, we need to have khashya when we are in salat. We need to have haya wa khijlat, a kind of shyness, a kind of positive shame, if you want to translate haya as a kind of positive shame or positive shyness. He says khijlat also, a kind of shyness, embarrassment, in the sense that I feel I am just very fortunate that they call me to this gathering, but otherwise it seems everyone is better than me. I am not qualified to be here. Just it is kindness of the king that has invited me. و رجاء واثق به رحمت. So خوف و خشیه، حیا و خجله، و رجاء واثق, a strong hope. Whenever you are with Allah, there is place for hope. Hope must be always there. Hope in Allah's unlimited mercy. So in all the parts of Adhān and Iqāmah, you should make your heart understand greatness of this encounter. عظمت محضر و حضور و حاضر. What a great gathering, encounter, what a great presence, and what great person who is present. Keep your heart conscious and make it understand the greatness of this. You have to keep reminding yourself. You remember we talked many times about tafhim. Make your heart appreciate, understand, take it on board. He says, قلوب عشقیه, those hearts which are loving, full of love. There are people who have experienced love. They have love for Allah. Then there is so much jazbe, attraction, so much eagerness that when they want to stand for Salat, they become somehow, forgetful of themselves. They're just thinking about the beloved and this encounter. Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam said, أفضل الناس من عشق العبادة وعانقها وأحبها بقلبه وباشرها بجسده وتفرغ لها فهو لا يبالي على ما أصبح من الدنيا على يسر أم على عسر. This beautiful hadith is from Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, and it can be found in Wasa'il al-Shia by the late Hurr Amili Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, whose grave is in the shrine of Imam Raza alayhi salam in the basement. So in Wasa'il al-Shia, volume 1, page 61, he has this. What does it mean? And it must be coming from Amirul Mu'minin's experience. He says the best people are those who love ibadah, and they hug and embrace ibadah. In Arabic, we have mu'ānaqa. Mu'ānaqa is when you, although onuq means neck, but it's not that they necessarily put their neck close to each other. They very closely hug each other. So the best people are those who love ibadah and hug ibadah. If you have seen someone that you love after a long time, you hug and you don't want to be separated. وَأَحَبَّهَا بِقَلْبِهِ, loves ibadah with heart. وَبَاشَرَهَا بِجَسَدِهِ. So when you hug someone that you really love, so your skin is touching that person's hand, for example, or body. So there is mubashara, skin to skin, means contact, but also it's a matter of heart. So أحبها بقلبه وباشرها بجسده. Sometimes people, maybe hug you, but you don't sense, energy, warmth, love. It's just formality. The same is with salat, with ibadah. Some of us hug salat as formality. But the people that Amir al-Mu'minin is referring to are the people that their heart is full of love for salat. وَتَفَرَّغَ لَهَا, they free themselves for salat. Faragh, which we discussed in the book of Ayatollah Shuja'i and maybe other places, is that when you free yourself, for them salat is so important that they don't say, I have something to do, so I delay my salat. They say to other things that I have salat, you have to wait. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes say, okay, now I have this meeting, I have this class, I have to go and buy something, I have to eat something. And then when we are free, in the sense that we have nothing to do, we say salat. But it should be the other way. We should prioritize salat and say to other things that I have salat. Not to say to salat, I have, something to do. تَفَرَّغَ لَهَا, he makes himself free for salat, for ibadah. Physically, but also mentally. You have to free yourself, free your mind for salah. Therefore, هُوَ لَا يُبَالِي عَلَى مَا أَصْبَحَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا, he doesn't bother about what is happening in dunya to him or her. عَلَى يُسْرٍ أَمْ عَلَى عُسْرٍ, is it time of ease or time of difficulty? They say about the late Ayatollah Qadi Tabatabai, Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, that when he had severe difficulties, for example, many times he suffered from poverty, people in his family didn't have something to eat. And also there were people who were very harsh with him, criticizing him, etc. But he said that when I start salat, I don't think about anything. till I have Salat. I am hungry, family hungry, problems, etc. When I start Salat till I finish Salat, nothing is bothering me. Because they are in presence of Allah. They understand that. So Amir al-Mu'minin says, La yubali. He doesn't care. Ala ma asbaha min ad-dunya. What is his condition with respect to dunya? Ala yusrin am ala usrin. So these are the hearts which are ishqi, means they have experienced love, they are lovers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes there are some hearts that are khawfi, qulub khawfiyya. So they are more experiencing khashya and khawf when they are in presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are very much feeling humble and, not qualified to be here. These people are described in the hadith that Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam quotes from Amir al-Mu'minin. Again, it's finally from Amir al-Mu'minin. Inna lillahi ibadan. This hadith is in Bihar al-Anwar and also Tuhaf al-Uqul. Allah has some servants that kasarat qulubahum khashyatuh, that khashya towards him or towards Allah has broken their hearts. فَأَسْكَتَتْهُمْ عَنِ الْمَنْطِقِ, has made them silent. They cannot speak. Sometimes when you are very much afraid, like for example, someone that wants to speak in front of a great personality, they have difficulty in talking. Or when they are in front of public and large audience, they cannot talk. Pressure is there. These people, when they are in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they cannot speak. It's very difficult for them. They have to take time. Maybe sometimes they have to repeat. He says Allah has different manifestations to different hearts. Depends on their condition, on the situation of the wayfarer. For example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was feeling very hungry and thirsty for Salat. He himself said that you become hungry and thirsty for food and drink, but I become hungry and thirsty for Salat. But with the difference that my hunger and thirst are not over when I say Salat. So he used to say to Bilal, Arihna ya Bilal. Arihna ya Bilal. O Bilal, comfort us. Give us pleasure and comfort by calling for Salat. So, the same Rasulullah, or for example, Ahlul Bayt, also had experiences of khashya. And that is when then they were feeling, very humble. Their face was becoming pale. Maybe sometimes they were, shaking when they were getting ready for Salat or inside Salat. So both are possible. Or sometimes they can be in a comprehensive situation. We call it tajalli jam'i ahadi. So that it's not either towards khashya or towards love, in a comprehensive way. That maybe they were able to be fully focused on Allah, but at the same time pay attention to other things. And maybe some people thought they are not even deeply connected because they saw that they are paying attention to Kathra as well, but they were deeply connected. So these are conditions of awliyaullah, but Imam Khomeini says, but people who are mahjub, who are busy with dunya, who are imprisoned in tabi'ah in this world, shahawat, dreams have chained them up. They don't understand intellectual happiness. So he says, these people are outside discussion. He talks about himself and people like himself. He says, we people who are mahjub. He says, for us, expectation is different, but for them, this is the condition. But in any case, what is important is that we should never let shaitan take away hope from us. He says, what is prior to everything is that yas, despair, and qunut with ta', la taqnatu min rahmatillah. Qunut with ta' means to lose hope. He says this is one of the soldiers of shaitan, one of the satanic communications and temptation is to bring despair, not to have hope. We should remove despair from our heart. This is very important. For us, the etiquette of huzur, the etiquette of being in presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that we should at least tell ourselves that we are in the presence of Sultani Azimu Shan, in the presence of a great king whose greatness is understood by our heart. And we should make our heart understand that anything that you see in this world or even in Malakut, from glory, from beauty, from grandeur, all are from him. First, they descend and manifest in Malakut, then from Malakut, they manifest in Mulk, this material world. Any beauty, anything great you see, it's all coming from him after many levels of and layers of simplification or nuzul. So we should make our heart understand that this universe, this world, is mahzar muqaddas haq. You know, one of the sentences of Imam Khomeini which became very popular was عالم محضر خداست، در محضر خدا معصیت نکنید. This whole world, not only when you are in Salat, the whole world is where Allah is present. You are in front of the King. Don't disobey Allah in His presence. Sometimes people disobey, but in the absence of the king, in the absence of the police, in the absence of the person that has instructed them. But Allah is present. So we should keep telling our heart and reminding our heart so that our heart would understand. He says you should make your heart understand that the world is محضر مقدس حق و حق تعالی حاضر در جمیع امکنه و احیاز. Allah is in every place, in every direction, every corner. خصوصا namaz, especially at the time of namaz. He is already present. even before Salat, after Salat is present. But Salat is where he has announced to us that in this condition, this moment, I want to meet you and we want to have an encounter. I want you to talk to me. I want to listen to you. What issues you have to tell me, what problems you have that you need my help. So here we should be more attentive. When you make your heart understand greatness of the moment of huzur, even if at the beginning might be with takalluf, with some difficulty, but you keep telling your heart, then little by little, your heart gets ready, warms up. کم کم قلب اونس میگیرد. Little by little, your heart gets used to it. You know, I'm sure you all have had, if those who have children or younger brothers and sisters, you know, you have seen that, for example, when for the first time they want to go to school or nursery, it's very difficult for them because they have been always with the family. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to be with people that they don't know, especially to have, you know, routine, you know, from this time to this time, you have to be in this place, don't go out, don't play, etc. It's difficult for them. But little by little, they get used to it. If you don't send them to the school and wait when they will be completely ready, then it may take years or maybe they never get ready. But if you are patient and they are patient, then little by little, they get used to it and they start enjoying it. And even they are sad if, for example, there are long holidays. So, کم کم قلب اونس میگیرد و این مجاز حقیقت پیدا میکنه. This becomes a real experience of huzur. So, at least we start with آداب سوریه معامله با مالک الملوک و سلطان السلاطین. At least start with observing those protocols that if someone is in front of a king, a worldly king, at least observe that. When you are in front of a worldly king or president, what do? You are very careful about your dress, about your appearance, about the way you look, you listen, you talk. You don't play, you know, with your even hand or beard. You don't, you know, take mobile and talk in front of a worldly king. So at least start with that. If we observe these ادب‌های حضور ظاهری, these protocols, these manners of physical presence, then little by little your heart becomes ready, gets used to it and becomes ready for presence of real king, the king of the kings. First, we should remind our heart about his mercy, his blessings, those which are easily understandable, those which are more, you know, worldly, more physical. Then go to the other kinds of blessings so that your heart is ready. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَقْتَرِفْ حَسَنَةً نَزِدْ لَهُ فِيهَا حُسْنًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ شَكُورٌ. Surah Shura, verse 23. Whoever does something good, we will add to it. He will increase your. So you make efforts to make your heart ready, and Allah will also help you, and Allah will increase for you. Inna Allah ghafurun shakur. He's very forgiving and very grateful. Okay, this was the first chapter on Adhān and Iqāmah. Inshallah, we will have four more chapters, inshallah, to discuss. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. Thank you very much, Sheikh.
May Allah bless you, inshallah.
I have one question that's come through. Maybe you would like to read it. I've sent it to you on the chat. It has a few different parts, and I just want to see if you need more clarification or if it's okay for you.
When you fence, the question is, when you fence yourself off for namaz, do you have do you leave behind all other parts of yourself, or do you bring them all with you so you are a whole person rather than only the spiritual part of yourself? Because this could result in your spiritual part developing. And if you bring into the namaz area all of yourself, then you would have to tame all the other parts to be fully present and paying attention at the time of namaz. It will require discipline and extra preparation. Otherwise, there are people who are advanced in one area but lacking in overall development. Yeah. When we are present, the criterion for presence is heart, because your body is there. Yeah, body is there. But even if, for example, you don't look at anything, you just look at, for example, the place of sajda, you don't talk to anyone, you don't listen to anyone. But if heart is not there, then you don't have concentration. If heart is there, everything else also is there. So it is true that we have to be present as much as possible, but the main thing is the heart. If heart is present, other things will be also present. If heart is not present, the other things are superficially present. You are welcome. May Allah bless all of you, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question.
Yes.
And you said, make your heart understand the greatness of this encounter. And you talked about the people, the best people are those who love ibadah and hug ibadah. Is this a presence that is acquired after the purification of the nafs from sins, or can this be achieved by the ordinary individual? It may not be lasting, but are there moments when this can be achieved?
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like you to ask. And I have another question, if I can ask as well. Is I know that you spoke about, you mentioned an example of thinking about that you are in the presence of a king, and how you would present yourself to this king if you could imagine this. And this is quite a common example you've used in the past. I wonder if you could perhaps help us, provide us another example, another kind of like tool for us to focus our mind, those who perhaps are trying to engage the heart, maybe another way of doing this. So, thank you.
Sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah.
So the first part was I was around the question of making your heart understand the greatness.
Yeah, the first one I
encounter.
understood. So let me answer the first one, then you say the
Yes,
second one.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the best chance of presence of heart is when someone is pure, is already purified. But it's not impossible that even a person with difficulties, with issues, with impurities, there can be experiences of attraction, jazbah. Sometimes Allah makes us experience power of love for himself. Sometimes, maybe at certain time, maybe for example in the months of Ramadan, or in a shrine, or maybe you had difficulties, or you had very good news. I don't know, it can be different, but sometimes you all have experienced that there is deep connection and you are really enjoying your salat and you wish your salat doesn't finish. Okay, it's possible. This is like giving someone free sample. Say, okay, we have such a thing, test it. If you like it, then you can subscribe for the supply. So this is possible, but if you want to have it in a regular way, in a more enduring way, it needs that the heart must be purified. Because if heart is suffering from hubbud dunya, then cannot have such appreciation of being presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please tell me again your second question.
So Sheikh, the second question is, you gave the example, so one of the ways to help yourself come to the presence is to think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as, to imagine that you are in the presence of a king.
Yeah, the minimum, we said at least, yeah.
So if you could provide maybe another example, because sometimes you wish you had a few things that you could conjure up in your mind to push the heart towards that presence. So I wonder if you could maybe give us some more examples of what else we can do in terms of just sort of trying to control your heart and to sort of practice that level of presence.
Yeah. So as we said before, so there are whole discussion and points about presence of heart, but one thing that maybe everyone also can find how better they can control their thoughts and mind in salat, because maybe people have different ways, but one way is to keep thinking about the significance of salat. It's a golden opportunity. Maybe it's my last salat. Keep thinking about what you want to say and mean it when you say. But also, as some of ulama have said, and I mentioned before, for example, they say you can think of your prayer mat as the only permissible space for your not only body but for your mind. As soon as your mind wants to think about something outside, stop. Sometimes feeling about spiritual things as physical things and spiritual boundaries with like physical boundaries sometimes can help. So your heart should be little by little tamed and get used to remaining within the area that is defined for it. If I have to study now, I should study. If I have to talk to people, I should put my heart into it. If I have to drive, I should put my heart into it. Okay? If I'm eating, I should pay attention to my food and being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to make our heart used to paying attention to what we do, what we think, and not going around. This needs training also, but it also helps a lot if you manage to increase your love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you increase your appreciation for salat. But it is a thing that also can help you with other areas of life if you manage to have that control.
Thank you, Sheikh.
May Allah bless you, inshallah. Thank you.
And you.
Ahsantum. There is a question. If you know you are lacking presence because of tiredness or things to do, Is it better to leave out the mustahabbat at this time, or is it better to do the mustahabbat without prayer? If you don't have presence of heart, it's okay to do mustahabbat and actually good, but don't push yourself too much. Don't force yourself too much, because then nafs can rebel. It's like a horse, wild horse that you want to tame. If you put too much pressure, it can run away. So Amir al-Mu'minin salam said, these hearts, inna lahadhi al-qulub iqbalan wa idbara. Sometimes your heart listens to you, is very much obedient. Sometimes it's going to turn away, wants to run away. So you have to know how to deal with your heart. But if you don't push a little bit, your heart becomes more and more disobedient. So my understanding is that when your heart has lots of interest in ibadah, benefit from it, but keep a little bit of appetite there, like food. Don't eat as much as you have a space before you feel full. Leave. And also when there is no appetite, still eat something to have energy. So when you don't have that much feeling, do some mustahabat, but not too much, but a little bit, so that your nafs learns that there is discipline here, cannot, just do whatever it wants. The second question is, please clarify what you mean by we need to think about what we want to say in Salat. Isn't it that we are prescribed the things we need to say? Yes. Part of it, of course, you can say based on your choice. For example, in qunut, in ruku, in sujood, you can have some dhikr, some du'as of your choice. But even those things which are fixed, what I mean is that when I want to say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, first think of the meaning. What does اهدنا الصراط المستقيم mean? And then, are you ready to say it? And then say it. So I suggest that instead of thinking about the meaning as we read, think about the meaning before actually uttering those words. So first, what is the meaning of اهدنا الصراط المستقيم? Then I mean it and say it. This is what I mean. May Allah inshallah bless you and inshallah help all of us to experience inshallah Salatul Khashi'in bi'idhnillah. التماس dua from everyone. في أمان الله.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
Thank you. خدا حافظ.
في أمان الله.